Okay, yes! I'll do a shooting star meme tutorial. I was actually really surprised that there isn't a good one on YouTube already. But today that changes. So let me welcome you to learn how to edit stuff. My name is Nadigan Sands, and today we're gonna do the shooting star meme. Now let me preface this whole thing with there's no set way of doing this meme, right? You just have to find a video of somebody failing, and then you gotta get a bunch of footage of like outer space and under oceans and stuff like that. So finding the clip and finding the backgrounds are gonna be up to you, but I'm gonna show you how to put it all together. It's up to you what you wanna create, but here's what we're gonna be doing today.
Ready? Yeah.
No jokes, no wasting time, no funny gags, none of that stuff. We're jumping in Adobe Premiere and Photoshop shooting star meme right now. All right, guys, we're starting off in Adobe Premiere first, and the first thing you're gonna wanna do is find the clip that you wanna do the shooting star meme with, ideally somebody failing. So I have this guy jumping off the roof onto a trampoline.
Oh my God!
All right, so let's run it back to the top of the clip, and I'm just gonna set my in point right here, and I'm gonna set my out point right after he jumps off the roof. Right about there. And I'm just gonna come down, drag it onto my timeline, keep existing settings. I'm at 23976 at 1080 for my sequence settings, and I'm just going to scale this clip up to fit inside my frame. Then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna come to the point where you know that you want the shooting star meme to start. So right as soon as he jumps off the roof. Now, a good rule to remember is that you want the person's whole body to be in frame, and then that way it looks cleaner when you completely wipe the background and add your own stuff. If they're like missing a leg or something, you're gonna have a weird cutoff line, so make sure the person's whole body is in frame. Then what we're gonna do is, once I know that I wanna start here, we're gonna get 4 frames that we're gonna use as our GIF, basically, where it's just gonna animate back and forth a bunch of times. So I'm gonna start here, I'm gonna click this little camera icon down here, export frame, and it's gonna go right to my desktop. So I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna go over 1 frame, I'm gonna hit the camera again, go over 1 frame, hit the camera again, go over 1 frame, hit the camera again. So that's 4 frames. Then what I'm gonna do is open up Photoshop, and I'm gonna import those JPEGs that we just exported out of Premiere right into Photoshop, so click open. So they're backwards. I have number 1 here, number 2, number 3, and number 4 across the top. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start with number 1, I'm gonna click on the pen tool over here on the side, and I'm gonna click the caps lock key, which will actually turn it from a pen to a little crosshair. If you see that, it just makes it way more precise. I'm gonna zoom in here, and I'm just gonna cut this guy out. Pro tip, if you hold down spacebar, it turns into a little hand, and then you can drag and move it so you don't have to like zoom out and zoom back in every time. All right, now once I've cut my guy out here, I'm gonna come over here to where it says background. I'm gonna right click on it and hit layer from background. And basically it will turn the background layer into a layer that you can edit. I'm gonna come up to paths on the side. I'm going to command or control click on the little square right here, and it's going to select what I've just outlined here in Photoshop. And I'm gonna shift command or shift control I to select the inverse and hit delete. And that's gonna delete everything outside of where I just selected. The next thing I'm gonna do is come over here to layers. I'm going to command or control click on this little picture now, which will now select my region here. And I'm going to alt command or alt control R on this, which will bring up my refine edge palette. And then I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna shift the edge about -40, and I'm going to feather it about 1 pixel. And now if I zoom in here, you'll see that it's just feathering around the outside of my image. And I'm gonna do the same thing again, shift command or shift control I to select the inverse and then hit delete. And it will create a nice little feather around the outside of my image so it's not real hard lines, so it looks way more smooth. That was probably a lot of information to handle. That is a super pro tip of mine. So if you didn't get that, just rewind this video and then rewatch it. So once you've done that and it's looking good in the feather, you're gonna save it. And I'm just going to save it to my root folder under graphics. And I'm just gonna call this jump 1. And I'm gonna save it as a Photoshop document. You guys can save it as a PNG if you'd like. I just like using Photoshop just in case I need to make any edits for whatever reason. It's just super easy that way, but do whatever you want, you know, I don't care. Click save, and then you're going to move on to your still image number 2. You're gonna do the exact same thing for all 4 images. I'm not gonna do all 4 right now because that would take literally forever. So you do all 4, and then come back when you're ready. Okay, at this point, I think you've cut out all of your images and you are ready to drop it into your timeline. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna click Apple I or Control I to import my PSDs that we just did. So here they are, jump 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm just gonna import those straight into Premiere here. Click OK because they're Photoshop layers, and here we are, we have them jump 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then what I'm gonna come down here and do is I'm gonna go back 4 frames, and I'm just gonna layer these right over top. And they should match up completely. So if I got rid of this layer underneath, here's my guy right here. So I'm gonna go 1 frame, then I'm gonna put in number 2, number 3, number 4. There you go. So now if I got rid of this layer underneath, we have this kind of guy that's jumping off the roof now with no background, and it's looking pretty good so far. So now what you're gonna wanna do is you have your image sequence 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end here, and then you're gonna want to put 3 at the end. So I'm gonna duplicate 3, duplicate 2, then duplicate 1. So now it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if I were to play that, it actually loops. It goes forward and then back very nicely. So I want that to repeat itself. So it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm gonna grab it from 2 again, just from here, all the way to the end. And I'm just gonna paste this like a million times. It doesn't really matter how long you make it because it's just gonna be an infinite loop of this guy jumping, and it's going forward and back, and it looks pretty good. So now once you have that, highlight all of these layers, and you can right click on your clips and you can go to nest and click OK. And what that will do is it will nest it into one clip. So now you just have this guy that's jumping just like that. Now, here's kind of a pro tip. You're gonna wanna set your anchor point for this layer directly in the center of your composition. So if I come down to this wrench and I go to safe margins, it will kind of give you an indication of where the center of your frame is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually set my anchor point over here in my effect controls to be the center of the frame. And I'll tell you why I'm doing this. If I leave it where it was and I go to rotate it, you see how it's like rotating, it's basically rotating from the center, but because this guy isn't in the center, it's gonna rotate around the outside, which is not what we want. We want it to be rotating directly in the center of his body. So I'm going to move the anchor point directly to the center of his body the best I can, which is like somewhere right here. And now when I rotate it, it'll actually rotate from him instead of around the outside. So then you're gonna wanna just pull your clip out here and you're gonna wanna line this back up with the original footage. There you go, just like that. And now we're ready to rock and roll. And now if I were to rotate this or do anything, it's gonna rotate from the center of his body. That's very important. It will screw you up later if you don't do this. Take the time, I promise. So now what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to get the music from YouTube somewhere. I downloaded a program called 4K Video Downloader. I totally recommend getting it. It's an amazing program. You basically just copy and paste a YouTube link into it, and it will allow you to download the video at the original source quality. So if it was uploaded in 4K, you can download 4K videos, 1080, 720, etc. 4K Downloader, it's free for both Mac and PC. Go download it. The link is in the video description below. I promise it's a great tool, not just for this, but for basically everything. So I downloaded the Bag Raiders Shooting Star song, and I'm gonna come to right where the meme part of the song starts. Everybody knows that part. So I'm gonna drag that down onto my timeline and start it right from where this starts. And I'm just gonna drag it backwards. And I can actually extend my clip out a little bit and get more of the song in there.
Ready? Yeah.
So now that I have my song in there, it is completely up to you what backgrounds you want to put underneath this thing. So I've gone ahead and downloaded a bunch of flying through space kind of footage here off YouTube. I will put these video links in the description below as well if you want to just grab the ones that I have, but it's literally just like a bunch of stuff, right? It makes no sense. It doesn't even matter. You can do whatever you want. I also downloaded a bunch of psychedelic 3D visuals. So if you guys wanted to do something a little bit different than space, in fact, let's do that. So I'm gonna grab this, I'm gonna drop it underneath my video here. I'm gonna scale it to frame size, and then I'm gonna speed this up to 500%. And I basically want one scene of this to last for one bar of the song. So if I played this, that's where I'm stopping right there. And then we'll go, flying through space. There's this one. Scale it to frame size. Speed it up, 500%. There you go. It was kind of a funny one, this one of like the galaxy, where I made him like come out of the galaxy here. So we'll grab that clip, scale the frame size, speed it up 500%. There you go. There you go, looking good. Scale the frame size, speed it up 500%. And I'm gonna have the video end there for the sake of time. And I'm going to basically continue the video right from where we left off, which is here. So I'm gonna drag it, cut it, and then bring it back. And then in my video, and in other shooting star meme videos that I've seen around, as soon as the person hits the ground or hits whatever, there's like an explosion or something funny. So I have this funny explosion of this house exploding here, so I'm gonna drag that down onto my timeline. And I'm going to zoom in past the watermark here because I'm kind of stealing this. All right, so now we have the base of our meme. So the guy jumps off the roof, we got the song starting here, and then he flies through whatever you guys want. It could be space, it could be a psychedelic visual, it could be under the ocean, it could do whatever. So now the next step in this is going to be to manipulate our person and make him do funny things, spin around and flash different colors, etc. So we're gonna do that right now. All right, so for this first one, I'm just gonna cut my nested sequence where all these other clips are cut, so it makes it easier for us to work in right now. So I'm basically gonna take this guy, and I'm gonna set my position, scale, and rotation keyframes, and for this one, I want him to fall farther down this hole while spinning. So I'm basically gonna spin him around a couple times, just like that. I'm gonna scale him down a little bit, and I'm just gonna push him here. So it looks like he's falling into the void. So let's do that. And then maybe for this one, I'm gonna turn him on his side, and I'm gonna set my position, scale, and rotation just in case. Even if you don't use all three of these things, it's good practice just to set all three at the same time. So we're gonna have this guy now swim through our frame. So I'm gonna pull him out. And I'm gonna just push him straight across like this. And then what I'm also gonna do is I'm going to duplicate this clip on top of itself. Gonna get rid of my keyframes here. And for this one, I'm gonna have him start really big, kind of maybe push him down out of frame here. And by the end, I wanna have him here and scaled like this, falling into the center of this thing. And of course, you gotta have him rotate a bunch. So we'll rotate him like this. There we go. Now again, there's no rhyme or reason to this. It's gonna be completely up to you and your creativity. So if you want him riding a dolphin, if you download an ocean clip, just track him along with the dolphin. You can have him spin, you can duplicate it, you can do all this stuff. So I have no plan in my head for what I wanna do. I'm just kind of going off the cuff, and that's probably what you're gonna do too. So I just wanted to give you guys the knowledge, oh, here it comes again. Use the knowledge that you learned in today's video to do your own cool thing, and don't copy me. This is the whole point of this channel, is to give you guys the knowledge that I have learned over years and years and years of doing this, so that you can go and make your own cool stuff and create your own shooting star memes. So do whatever you want, do whatever you think is cool. So for this one, I had him duplicated and just flying out of this little black hole here. So what I'm gonna do, position, scale, rotation, I'm gonna scale him down just like that. I'm gonna have him start right here from the middle. And I'm going to rotate him a bunch like this. And I'm just going to pull him out like that. So he's just kind of flying out of the black hole. And then I'm going to actually come over here, set my scale, come back and set this scale at 0. There you go. So now basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just duplicate this, and then I'm gonna set my ending keyframe to be a little bit different every time. So one of them will fly over here. Maybe this one rotates a little bit more. I'm gonna do that over here. This guy I want to fly straight out up this way. Maybe rotate negatively, so we'll rotate him back the opposite direction like that. And we'll do another one like here. And this one will rotate positive. And then we'll do one more where one of them will just fly completely super far away, like way over here, and rotate him like crazy. So check this out. Nice, it's looking pretty good. And finally, what I want him to do is I want him to scale in super big and then hit this point right here and then go small down this thing. So Right there, I want him to hit this position, so I'm gonna set my scale position and rotation. I'm gonna come to the first keyframe, I'm gonna scale him up real big, kind of push him off to the side. So there he flies into frame, and then he will continue to fly down and get smaller, like that, down this void, like that, maybe rotate. All right, looking pretty good. So now the last thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna make it flash a bunch of different colors, because I feel like that's a thing for whatever reason, and you can choose to do this if you want. I am just doing it because that's the meme culture, so we're gonna do that right now. So basically, what I want you to do is come into your nested sequence, double click on that. Here's all of our keyframes. Hit this little new item button, and we're gonna create an adjustment layer. Click OK. Drop that adjustment layer right onto your clip, and we'll make it span 2 of these, which is fine. Gonna come over to effects and type in color, and then you're gonna come down here to image control, and you're gonna drop in color balance RGB right onto this adjustment layer, and it will give you 3 parameters, red, green, and blue. So now if I do this, if I drop out red and green, it will make our guy blue. I'm going to come over here, duplicate this adjustment layer. Then I'm gonna come over to this one, and I'm gonna change this to 0, and I'm gonna make this one green. I'm gonna do it one more time, and I'm gonna make this one red. I'm gonna duplicate it one more time. I'm gonna come over here and do a blend of red and green, which will give you sort of orange-yellow. Adjust it one more time. And I'm maybe gonna crank up the blue and maybe drop out red, give us a cyan-looking color right there. So you can do this as many times as you want. Then you're gonna wanna take all these, copy them, and because they're on video layer 2, you're gonna wanna hit these 2 things so that it pastes all of what you're doing onto video 2. This is kind of important. If you don't do this and you leave it here, it'll start to erase all the things that you have going on down here. So just make sure that you switch it to video 2. And now you should be able to copy and paste these to your heart's content all the way across, and it will do the color sequencing just like that. Then come back to your sequence, and then you can choose which one of these you want it to actually color sequence. So maybe I don't want it to color sequence this. So I'm gonna go to the end of my clip, which is right here. I'm gonna double click on my nested sequence, and I'm going to just delete all the ones before my playhead. So then that way when I come back to my clip, it's not color sequencing here, but then as soon as it goes to the next clip, it will be color sequencing. And then maybe we want them to still color sequence there. And then maybe for this one, we don't want it to color sequence. So again, go to the beginning of my clip here, double click, find your playhead, and then delete all of your color masking after the playhead so that when you go to your sequence, it actually won't do the color sequencing there. So let's see what we've got.
Ready? Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. Shooting star meme, and you probably thought that was going to be a lot harder, didn't you? It's not. I do want to thank you guys for suggesting the shooting star meme tutorial. I had never really seen the shooting star meme before you guys started suggesting it. I'm not really like super on top of meme culture, but it was fun for me to watch something that I had never seen before and then deconstruct it and figure out how to teach you to do it. So if there's any other memes out there that you want to learn how to do, make sure that you write them in the comment section below, and I will make sure to do my best to teach you how to make the dankest memes, fam. The dankest memes, fam. The dankest memes, fam. All right, so let's recap on things to remember. Number 1, find the clip that you want to do the shooting star meme to. Number 2, find 4 frames that you think are good in the video, making sure the person's full body is in frame, and then cut them out in Photoshop. Remember to feather it to make it look better. Number 3, set the anchor point to the middle of your frame, so then that way when you do any position, scale, or rotation, anything, it's gonna rotate from the center. That is important. It will screw you up for sure if you don't do this. Number 4, do all your animating and your color sequencing if you want. And the most important rule to remember, it sounds cheesy to say, but just have fun. This is meant to be just like goofy and trolly and lighthearted, and don't ever get frustrated when you're doing this, right? If you guys are just starting out or you've been doing this a while and trying to learn something new, just always remember to have fun. There's no point to getting frustrated with this kind of stuff, and if you missed anything or if I was moving too fast, just rewind the video and rewatch it. If you guys don't follow me on social media, do it right now, at Naughty and Sans on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. A lot of the times I will tweet a video about what I'll be doing that week as far as tutorials, and I'm trying to be a little bit more active on Twitter as far as responding to people, so that's probably a good way to get in touch with me. Either way, Naughty and Sans across all social media platforms. Well, I certainly had fun doing this. Thank you again for suggesting the topics. Suggest more topics in the comments section below, and make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and check out the last video that you missed. It's about masking in Premiere, so if you don't have Photoshop, you can watch this and kind of do the same thing. Watch that video, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time.